Spider-Man Homecoming is here. This is the newest iteration of the comic book character that we all love, and it stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker. And this is the 6th Spider-Man movie that we've had on screen, so why is there hype surrounding this movie? Why do people still care about seeing this character in more films? This time it's with Marvel. Marvel Studios negotiated a deal with Sony, and now they have the rights to this character. So this film takes place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is kind of exciting. So this movie is nothing of an origin story. We've completely skipped past Peter Parker getting bit by a spider, Uncle Ben dying, all that stuff is well in the past. And now we have Peter Parker learning how to tackle being Spider-Man while also being a high schooler and learning how to sustain both of those lifestyles. Tony Stark becomes his mentor as he's navigating how to fight crime, and he's always distracted by the constant thought of showing Stark what he's capable of. Amidst all of this, the Vulture is a new guy in town who's causing all kinds of crime in the city, and Peter sees stopping him as the ideal opportunity to prove himself to Tony. It probably comes as no surprise that I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I love this character. Batman is definitely my favorite superhero and always will be. That'll never change. But Spider-Man's definitely a close second. I think he is by far the most relatable comic book character. He's just a kid that has real-world problems that we all have to deal with, and he's an emotionally compelling character while also being a ton of fun. So given the fact that this movie is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I was really looking forward to it. I loved Tom Holland's portrayal of this character in Captain America Civil War, and when I heard Kevin Feige make those comments about how they were going for this John Hughes high school movie tone like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that had me really interested. I've always wanted to see a high school Spider-Man movie. Right off the bat, one of the best things about this movie is Tom Holland's performance. He's just as good here as he was in Civil War, if not better, and he's really good at doing both sides of this character, where I think Tobey Maguire was a really good Peter Parker, he was a decent, alright Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield was a really bad Peter Parker, and he was a good Spider-Man. Tom Holland's a really great Peter Parker and a really great Spider-Man. He's really good with both sides of this character. He sold everything about the relatable young kid feel that I wanted to see with Peter Parker, and he's also really fun and quippy during the action sequences like you'd want out of Spider-Man. And now that I've gotten into the relatable stuff, I think the best thing about this film is all the high school aspects of it. The creative team did such a good job with that John Hughes movie tone that they were going for, and it made this iteration feel fresh. I'm so tired of seeing the same old origin story. They actually shook some things up in giving us such a young Spider-Man. Michael Keaton plays the Vulture in this movie, and from what I saw in the trailers and the marketing, I thought it was just going to be like Michael Keaton playing himself. Just a creepy old guy kind of vibe and not much else to his character. But I can honestly tell you that he's probably one of the best Marvel villains that we've had in years. The reason I liked him so much is because he's terrifying and Michael Keaton gives a great performance, but he's also a sympathetic character that this movie gives you a personal connection to. The movie fleshes him out just enough that you can understand his motivations completely and you know exactly where he's coming from. And to me, those are the best kind of villains. I haven't seen a villain like this in the Marvel Universe since The Winter Soldier, honestly. There's a couple of other characters I really enjoyed in this movie. First of all, Ned, who's Peter's best friend in this film, he was absolute comedic gold. He's so funny in this movie, and a lot of the funniest parts of this movie are due to his character. And he could have been really annoying. When he was introduced, I wasn't so convinced that he was going to be that great, but he has some hilarious dialogue, and he makes this movie really entertaining. I was really concerned going into this movie that it was going to be Iron Man 4 with a little bit of Spider-Man. In the trailers, they were really hyping up the fact that Tony Stark is in this movie. Much to my surprise, I actually really enjoyed how they incorporated Robert Downey Jr. into this film. Would I have preferred he not be in the movie at all? Yeah, probably, because I'm going to see a Spider-Man movie, not an Iron Man movie. But they use his character just enough, and they don't devote a ton of time to his scenes. This gets into my first problem with the movie, and that is some of the connections to the MCU. When I go see a Spider-Man movie, I want to see a Spider-Man movie. I don't want to see Spider-Man and a bunch of other characters. In Spider-Man Homecoming, there's a lot of nods to the expanded universe and a lot of other characters that don't really necessarily have to be there, in my opinion. Why do you think some of the most critically acclaimed superhero movies in the last few years have been Logan or Deadpool? Because those films were made primarily to tell a good story with an awesome character. They didn't focus on world building and setting up the universe and stuff. There's a lot of references in Spider-Man Homecoming, and to me this movie feels like it's bogged down by being a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For some people, they might like that, but for me, I thought a lot of the references were kind of annoying. This might get a little bit into spoiler territory, so I won't go really in depth here. I didn't like how they handled Spider-Man's suit in this movie. Not the costume design or the way it looks or anything. It's just not really like a Spider-Man suit, and I think it kind of betrays some aspects of this character. That might sound kind of weird right now, but if you see the film, you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I also think the action in this film is nowhere near as good as it was in the original 2 Spider-Man movies from Sam Raimi. I watched, personally, my favorite Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 2, a little bit before I saw Spider-Man Homecoming, And those action sequences are filled to the brim with energy and fast-paced, unrelenting takes. And this movie is just kind of fun, enjoyable action. There's not really any particular directing style that this movie goes with. Other than this one really great sequence in Washington, D.C. that you've probably seen a lot in the trailers, I couldn't find one sequence that really stood out to me. It all feels like typical Marvel action. And Jon Watts didn't really put his own spin on any of this. Let's be real though, I am comparing this movie to one of the best comic book movies of all time, so there's that. But anyway, Spider-Man Homecoming is a film that I had a ton of fun with. I really liked seeing Tom Holland's take on a high school Peter Parker. I think director Jon Watts did a really good job nailing the vibe and tone of this high school movie. A lot of the other characters are really good. I really enjoyed seeing Michael Keaton's take on the Vulture. He's probably one of the best Marvel villains we've had. Ned's also really funny in this movie. Marissa Tomei as Aunt May was actually pretty good. She's not in it for that long, but for what she was there for, I actually really liked her character. Spider-Man Homecoming is a really good, fresh, new iteration of this character, and I did have a lot of fun with it, so I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Overall, a little bit disappointing, but this is by no means a bad film. It's much better than every Spider-Man movie we've gotten since Spider-Man 2, honestly. So guys, those are my thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Also, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie? I got a couple more reviews coming this week. There's going to be War for the Planet of the Apes, and I'm seeing Dunkirk tonight, so those will be up very soon. Also, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.